guess they were displaced and they found their homes in the Oak Street area. So when they took the mill down. Huh. I says, guarantee you're gonna see it again if that was the case, but I wouldn't have a clue as to how you would even address that. Oh, it was an interesting conversation, one that I don't think the town has any involvement in.
This is the first I've heard of it.
That's it, it took me off.
What's that? I'd like to bring this town council meeting for April 19th, 2016 to order, and please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Tara.
Councilor Albert?
Here.
Councilor Colby? Here. Councilor Ward?
Here.
Councilor Mativier?
Here.
Councilor Bickford?
Here.
Councilor Crafts?
He's been excused.
All right. Councilor Brunel?
Here.
First time, Twella.
Is good news and recognition. I think we want to take a second, Council Chairman, to announce the SafeWise 20th Safest Cities in Maine for 2016.
Go ahead.
SafeWise is a community-focused safety organization committed to increasing home and community safety education, awareness, and preparedness. The SafeWise brand has been recognized by many trusted publications, including the Huffington Post, Angie's List, Mashpee, and Homes.com, for their efforts to award law enforcement, neighborhood watch, and civic leaders who go the extra mile to keep their neighborhood safe. Visit our Maine State Crime Prevention Center for more helpful Maine safety resources. We were awarded the SafeWise presentation to the City of Lisbon for its efforts in community safety and crime prevention. Lisbon was ranked the 12th safest city in Maine due to its commitment and the safety and security of its residents. We want to thank Chief Brooks. Please come forward. Let me give this to you. There you go. Want a picture down front, probably? Yes. We can do the posing over here. This way. Remember to smile.
This is really nice, and this is a combined effort of every man and woman in the police department and also the citizens of Lisbon. We've got a great community here, and when we need assistance, most generally the citizens step up to do their part. So everybody should be proud of this. Thank you very much.
Next item, Twella.
Is there any other good news and recognition?
Yeah, I've got, it's not good news, but it's recognition. Longtime teacher in Lisbon Falls, he retired from the system, passed away Saturday. And I would just like to say something about Mr. Doughty, Stan Doughty Sr. A lot of people have known his son, Chipper, that was a commissioner on the water department. But Stan was a outstanding teacher, taught me how to drive, at least legally. And he was a very, very good person. Every year, for the last 15, I got a bottle of homemade maple syrup, and which I really appreciated, and it's a wonderful family, and he's going to be very missed. So that's all I've got. Anybody else? No, you must have.
That is the audience participation and response for agenda items.
On. Next item.
The consent agenda. Any counselor wishing to have an item removed may do so now. Items removed from the consent agenda will be considered next. Seeing none, Order 2016-94 to approve the renewal liquor license for Angelo's Pizzeria and Restaurant, a renewal itinerant outdoor flea market permit for Carvel's Flea Market, an itinerant festival permit for the Moxie Committee, and the renewal manufactured mobile home parks as presented. They are for Avery Street, Bowden Mobile Home Park, Brickwood Court, Colonial Gardens, Davis Street, Gendron's Mobile Home Park, Grimmel's Trailer Park, Ridge Mobile Home Park, St. Anne's Mobile Home Park, the Town and Country Village, Whispering Pines Trailer Park, Warumbo Estates, Warumbo Park, and pending payment, the Sabatis Creek Mobile Home Parks.
I need a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hands on this?
Yep.
All in favor?
None opposed. Order passed 6-0.
Item 12.
Under Council Orders, Resolutions, and Ordinances, Order 2016-95, to amend the zoning ordinance, property maintenance section. This is a first reading. A roll call vote is required.
Well, this, need a motion.
I make the motion to consider it as written by the planning board, please.
Need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
For clarity, this only impacts new properties being assessed, not existing that might not be in compliance?
Won't be retroactive.
Not retroactive, okay. I'm referencing, buildings that may have some damage to fire or already raised. This is just the new that we're talking about. Nothing retroactive, so none of those folks. I'm on the same page. I was just looking to state that for the record.
You mean retroactive is like grandfather? Right. Okay, I understand that. Okay.
Ready for the roll call
Yep.
vote? Counselor Lunt? Oh, I have the wrong list, don't I?
We have to listen quietly for that one. I don't think we're
See,
gonna. Yeah,
this one's going to be a quick study, isn't it? All right, Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
Counselor Albert?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor Crafts is absent. Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
And Counselor Garris, let's see, that's different. Counselor Colby?
Yes.
And who have I missed?
That
Counselor
would be
Ward.
me, yes.
Counselor Ward. All right, 6-0. Order passed. What happens when you copy paste? Next item is Order 2016-96 to set the school capital improvement planning public hearing for May 10th.
Yep. I need a motion.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
None opposed. Order passed 6-0. Thank you.
Next item 12.
Order 2016-97, the warrant for the school budget validation referendum.
Need a motion.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yep, this would make your election for the school budget on June 14th, 2016. And the following questions will be on the ballot. Do you favor approving the Town of Lisbon school budget for the upcoming school year that's going to be adopted at the Town Council meeting on Tuesday, May 17th? And the following question is a non-binding expression of opinion for the consideration of the Town Council and the school committee. If you voted no, was it because it was too high or too low? And the third question this year, which is done every 3 years, is do you wish to continue the school budget validation referendum process in the Town of Lisbon for an additional 3 years?
There's one thing I would like to just ask the council, for my own personal thing. Do we need really a too high or too low? Can't we just have a yes or no?
I think it would be beneficial to have too high or too low because then it gives us an idea of what the voters are saying,
If it does get whichever way it goes.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
if they
okay,
say no, that they don't want it, I'd like to know why they don't want it.
Okay.
So it kind
Alright,
of gives us
well,
an idea.
That's fine. I was, so, okay, we've got
And I get why you asked the question though,
Me
Roger,
too.
too, because it was very, the
that
one
caused a problem.
highly
yeah,
contested heartburn issue.
I don't think that's gonna
in the
happen
pet-
this year,
Right,
so.
but,
Normally, if it's a no, it's usually because it's too high. Last year was different because of the way things would change.
Yeah.
In regular circumstances, it would probably be fine, yes or no, but
right.
But it'd still be nice to know.
I think it's
which-
good for the directional, just like
Right,
you
because
said.
I mean, I don't want to have to not,
I like where you were going with that, Roger, because I think by pulling that out of there, it sets a different tone and sends a different message, and I think that was not a bad idea, and I can understand where you're coming from, Cassie, as well. So,
It's not a biggie on me, I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring it out.
right?
Okay, we need a vote? All in favor?
None opposed, order passed 6-0.
Next item, Paula.
Order 2016-98, the library grant application and funding.
Good evening, members of the Town Council, Town Manager, and Lisbon citizens. The library is seeking permission to apply for a $500 grant that the Central Maine Credit Union on Lisbon Street in Lewiston offers to area libraries every year about this time. It's awarded to one library. We've been successful twice in the recent past to receive this gift. It is with the understanding that it's to enhance your summer reading program in your community, and that's how we had used it in the past. We bought a paperback, a brand-new paperback, reading level appropriate for each reader, and we would like permission to apply again this year. That will be awarded the end of May, and certainly we can let you know if we were successful. But they're very generous in extending it to not just Lewiston, Auburn, but also to Lisbon, and we've been successful in the past.
I need a motion to accept.
So in the packet, there's a recommended motion. And what we also would like to do is to set up a donation for the summer reading program. So we folded everything into one recommendation, which is to authorize the library director to apply for the Central Maine Credit Union grant, accept the funds if awarded, and authorize an account to be set up to accept donations for the summer reading program.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
That's Chris's line.
Yes.
Need a second, how's that? Second. All in favor?
None opposed, order passed 6-0.
We don't have any fun here at all.
The other part of this request, kind of, I guess is the term I guess we need to use this evening, is to seek your permission to send out fundraising letters to local businesses seeking their financial and/or gift certificates to support the 2016 reading program. This has been done successfully in the past, and we've received donations that helped with the kickoff program, craft supplies, paperback books for the participants. And so this year, what we'd like to do is also extend these letters to local restaurants and the $2 stores to seek their help with gift certificates. Kids love gift certificates and to go choose their own little prize if they do well. So please note that most of these donations are made to the Friends of the Lisbon Library. The fundraising letter does state, please make this payable to the Friends of the Library. The gifts are given to the Friends, put into their account. Mrs. Lunt is their treasurer. She does a great job with that, and when we need the money, she either pays the bill or gives us a check, and we take care of that, whether it's the program that's going to be offered. But we would certainly like council to be aware and get your blessing to do this as well.
We just voted on that, right?
To set up a donation.
Still
Yeah,
yes.
that's good.
Still, we can still,
Yes.
the Friends can still do their thing, okay. just didn't want
No,
those
no,
letters
it's
to
just
go
good.
out
Appreciate-
without you
I-
all knowing
She,
that.
I appreciate the explanation.
Does she have to come back if she gets the grant?
No, we did that to accept the
Okay.
funds too.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to say thank you for all the hard work in finding these grants and making sure that these.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Our pleasure.
The brickwork looks good, Ryan.
Doesn't it look wonderful?
We were talking about that before the meeting, so it's starting to take shape.
They're doing a great job with that brickwork, and the new facade is just beautiful. They applied a second coat today. I went to check, and it's just wonderful. It's changed already what we look like. It's modern, it's clean, inviting. They also replaced the defective windows, and they're wonderful. Wait till you see those as well, because she had noticed that we had problems. And so the building is looking wonderful. So when it's all said and done and the 2 stained glass pieces are done, we'll have a little sort of grand reopening, kind of, just to make sure that citizens know that we appreciate that their building is there for them.
Very cool. Thank you.
Diane.
You're very welcome.
Next item?
Order 2016-99 to establish a capital improvement fund.
Ed?
You want to do that, Ed?
Well, thank you. I am Ed Karras, Finance Director for the Town of Lisbon. And I'm coming forward with a recommendation that I made to Town Manager Barnes to establish a capital improvements fund to handle those items that would fall outside of our 5-year capital improvement plan. Specifically, we would be looking to limit the use of the fund for facilities needs and for infrastructure. I don't see the fund being used to take care of routine replacement on equipment and vehicles. That really belongs in the 5-year plan as we go along. So coming up with cash is always a challenge. And as I was reviewing our accounts with representative from Androscoggin Bank, we have a CD that's coming due in July. And so what I propose is that, in fact, we seed the capital reserve account with the $100,000 that's coming due. The move that needs to be made accounting-wise and budgetarily would be that we would reclassify the $100,000 from the undesignated surplus to designated. I would continue to invest the $100,000 as I have enough rolling over each period that if we were in a situation where something did happen, like we had another roof problem somewhere, or we had an infrastructure issue that might involve digging up streets, who knows, something unforeseen, that I would have at least one CD or one investment that would be maturing in time to pay for that. But I think this is probably the most painless way that I could come up with to actually seed the program with the $100,000, and then hopefully, as I drafted up the language, that we could go on to have an annual appropriation or allocation from the town council to begin to build that fund up to the point where it could handle a substantial project for us. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to do this.
I'd second it. I think it's a great idea. I think it should have been done a long time ago.
You made the motion. I need a second.
I'll second it, by all means.
Okay, now let's discuss it.
Okay.
After, if we do approve this, and I've got something else I want to bring up to the council, but I think it's good. It's a bond. It's going to stay doing what it's doing. But if we do need it, it's emergency fund that we can get real quick. Anybody have any?
The way I look at it is, we've made a lot of discussion in the recent months associated with the capital improvement plan. It actually puts a good faith effort forward to at least begin that, more than just discussion, to have that be a working document. I know at the workshop last week, it was pretty encompassing, heavy on the equipment side, which is why I asked Ryan if everything was met from the capital that was currently in the plan, as we try to keep focus on the budget. And then what this does is eliminates us having to earmark undesignated fund balance to be able to establish this and set us back now that we're on the path where it's not the 2 months in reserve that the auditors are looking for, but it's closer to the 12 and a half that we were in the recent trend. So I don't see it as a downside, knowing fully well that you can't bind a future council. Somebody wants to rate it and not reestablish it, that they're going to do it anyways. But in this regard, we're at least trying to be a little more proactive.
And that was my only question when we talked about undesignated to designated. But I think it kind of talking about what Alan was saying, rather than be that 12.5%, we're talking about doing something where we went from dialogue to actually, this would be that first step to actually start us down that road. And then, like you mentioned, maybe councils going forward, this council and any other council after, we set up that one-time annual appropriation, then we get to a point where we're in a good place. I think to the fire department as a prime example of that, where they have that fund available to them to get equipment, and it's been a real boon for them and for us as a community. So I'm a big fan of this.
Okay. Well, anybody will?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Need a vote? Need a vote? All in favor?
None opposed? Order passed, 6-0.
Now, I've got something to say before we move on. I talked to Alan, and I would like to set up a meeting with me and Alan and Ed and Diane and go over this and see if we can find a little bit more money to put into this. And we can discuss it, and then come back at the next meeting and see if we found anything. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. But I think it's worth, I would really like to see it, not at 100, I'd like to see it at 150. But if we can't do that, then at least we can try.
Well, certainly that would be ideal. I mean, that would also give us a little bit more flexibility. Leave the 100,000 invested in a longer-term instrument and turn the 50,000 over every 3 months. The only downside to that is I guess that would preclude my staff vehicle for the fiscal year.
Yes.
Well,
Dennis wasn't willing to give it up anyways. You knew that.
well, no, we've got a better staff vehicle for him.
Okay.
It's a Humvee right outside.
Oh, nice. There you go. Nice.
But I do thank you for the vote. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ed,
you.
Before you sit down, there's one more piece of business under this. We
Right,
need
right.
authorization to move our trusts and DARE account into a single fund through the Portland Trust Company. That was the other part of this.
Right, there's another piece to the memo, and again, as I was looking at our cash position and a number of our bank accounts and funds, what I would like to do is to take our trust accounts, and we have several, roll them up into one fund with sub-accounts underneath, take them out of Androscoggin Bank where they're earning just here north of 0, and move them over to Portland Trust Company. And again, I don't think we need to ladder investments here, but as long as I can get to the money should we need it, I would probably invest it in a fairly long-term instrument, being cognizant of any potential forecast and interest rates moving up.
I'll make, need a
No, do
motion
it.
to approve?
That's a good one in that regard. I know Ed's mentioned several times to the council looking at the accounts that are out there spread out all over the place, part of this moving forward for the munis. So obviously trying to maximize any potential on investments, I would greatly support this.
Any a second?
Second?
All in favor? Thank you. Now,
Passes,
I gotta
yeah.
ask the council, this thing that I was gonna do with Norm, and I need a, I don't know if it needs a vote, but I need a consensus to do this.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't think there's any problem here. I think that I'm in favor.
Okay. I think we could probably do it before the next council meeting.
Excellent.
Okay. Next item, Twyla?
Is under other business, the town manager's report.
I just have one thing, while Chief Brooks is still here. I did receive a letter of retirement from Chief Brooks, and I just want to take a moment to read it. And it says, "Dear Town Manager Barnes, I am writing to inform you that I have decided to retire from the Lisbon Police Department. On August 1st of 1974, I was 20 years old, fresh out of the University of Maine, Augusta, with the desire to begin a career in law enforcement. At that time, I was the youngest police officer ever hired by the town of Lisbon. I settled in Lisbon, married, and my wife and I were proud to raise our 2 children here. I was appointed chief of police in December 1980 at the age of 26, the youngest chief in Maine at that time, and have remained here for the duration. I have proudly served Lisbon as a patrolman, sergeant, and for the past 35-plus years as its chief of police. And when called upon by the Board of Selectmen and then the Town Council, I have also served other interim capacities for our community. With nearly 42 years of service to Lisbon, I have fulfilled that 20-year-old's desire to pursue a law enforcement career, and it has now come time for me to retire. My last day as Chief of Police of the Town of Lisbon Police Department will be June 30th, 2016. Thank you, and respectfully submitted, David Brooks."
Sure you don't want to hang around for the Moxie Festival?
That's why I picked June 30th.
That's right. Hey, that's not
Yeah,
fair.
In a volunteer capacity is
That's
what I
right.
heard, right?
That's right.
Does that mean that you'll be volunteering?
I have one thing to say. It's been kind of a hard road for us to get here this way, and I really appreciate the standing council that sits here for what happened, for him to do it. Because it took this council and its makeup to do it. So I want, and,
Thank you.
Thank you for all your years of hard work.
Yes, thank you, Chief.
thank you.
I haven't left yet.
Well said. Well said.
Am I still gonna get the visits?
Excuse me?
Am I still gonna get the visits?
As long as you keep my truck running.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to
Next
you.
item, Paula.
That's true.
The department had written reports, the written reports for council review.
I read them. Nothing.
Yeah. I don't have to.
Kind
Next item, Paula.
And department heads, oral report. Brian Layton, Public Works.
There you go.
They are pretty dry, I'll admit, mine being one of them. Month of March was really quiet month all around. There isn't a whole lot to talk about other than what I've seen most of you for the last couple meetings anyway in regards to budgets and whatnot. The crews at Public Works, the sewer department and transfer station pretty much just doing their normal routine, getting ready for spring activities, pothole repairs. We've got some storm drain repairs we need to make, and then we'll, depending on how things go with the paving RFPs and whatnot, we'll have a significant number of culverts and some prep work for some of those road projects coming up. Some of the bigger things that we've talked about and got approval for recently were the technology upgrades here that we're still working on getting our final prices, as well as the phone system. Oxford Networks has been notified that we're moving forward. Just a matter of them scheduling their systems engineers to come out and finalize that aspect of things. And then Diane stole my thunder on the town buildings. The library is coming together very nicely. Things couldn't have worked out quite frankly, I think any better than they did. I mean, if you think back about it, the contractor originally convinced us to put the project off till this spring, and by doing that, we saved some money, and then we were able to do some of that additional work, which has definitely made a huge improvement down there. And then everybody that drives around here can see what the roofers have been doing for the last month or so. So it's been
looks real good.
been relatively steady. A lot of it, behind the scenes with budget development and whatnot. And now that some of our equipment's up and running, you'll see a lot more of us out on the streets and getting things going. Street sweeping has begun in earnest. We lost most of today because of the rain this morning, but a lot of the sidewalks are done in the falls. Still have some streets to finish up, and then we'll be making our way through Lisbon Center and then down to Lisbon. And the big sweepers ready to run next week. Starting tomorrow most likely. So any questions I'm happy to answer. Or
I know I've hit you with a lot of moving targets and projects to get, and I appreciate that. When I don't know the answer to the question is I sat in the audience and with the workshop on the solid waste committee.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that stand? I guess I don't know the answer on that.
did we ever?
And there was no clear resolution that night.
No,
But
and
I don't know if what happened behind the scenes. Was there a follow-up on that, or
We had multiple meetings, and I think the overall resolution is that the way we're functioning now, other than the addition of possibly a scale system at some point in the future, is really our most cost-effective solution at this point. Feel free to dive in.
You did check on the scales that we were told
Yeah,
about.
the ones that Knight Celotex was the last name there. And it was, I talked to the folks that we'd have to have move them and set them back up, and it was, I think we would have got the scales for free, but we can buy new ones for cheaper than it would have been to move them. So that was kind of a dead end, unfortunately. But the overall gist of it was, if we were to go pay as you throw, or if you were to go curbside pickup, there's going to be increased cost to go curbside. You may see some reduction in cost if you went pay as you throw, but there didn't appear to be the
that's kind of what I
desire
gathered too. I
do
don't want
pay as you throw
right.
at this stage of the game.
For the benefit, there was a trade-off associated with that.
Right.
Is the,
Pay as you throw, probably get stoned for saying it, but pay as you throw is probably the fairest solution in terms of trying to make that operation cost the taxpayers less, because then it's incumbent on the person to minimize how much they throw in the garbage, and therefore, they have some control over how much they actually pay. And the way it's set up now is everybody pays based on the percentage that service costs in their tax bill. So, there's some flexibility there for someone, for some families to save some money if we went that route, but the overall consensus was it probably wasn't the right time to.
still doesn't
talk
address
about
the construction debris and everything else that we're talking about with the scale system
That's why
anyway.
the scales were
Which
there.
is, right. And the reason I was asking the question within a question is, was two items that came up at last week's workshop for future capital improvements. I would actively consider scales as one of those options because there is a direct benefit associated with that. And if I'm not mistaken, $250,000 is a conservative piece.
I honestly have not had any prices that I've obtained, so I couldn't.
Yeah,
answer
I mean,
that.
that's just, it's a figure in the back of my mind from
Okay.
my experience. We can do it for cheaper. I'd love to see it, but that would be, at least it's a base figure to know what we would have. Obviously, finding the place to make it work within that facility and whatnot. But I think it's knowing enough about what you're saying about current operations is the best way to address it if we were to move forward. Because pay as you throw is only going to get so much, but same with curbside. It's a three-pronged approach, if you will.
Right. Being here long, it's, you go to the transfer station, and the people at the transfer station that go to and use the transfer station, they're like the people in the school department. They love it, and they want to keep it,
Yeah, right.
and they're gonna vote, and they're gonna be vocal.
And that's right, because I sat in that workshop that night, and one of the things, don't touch the solid waste facility. That's the message you're hearing on a regular basis. Or if you're going to touch it, they want expanded hours. And that is the one thing I've heard associated to that is there was one specific person on the Wing Street area. The fact is, give us one night beyond the 4:30 hour to be able to consider something of that nature. So we don't need to move forward on that tonight, but I was just curious to see if that was an open discussion.
This council could do.
Right. I'd love to start a composting program, but you need the seed money to be able to do it, because anything we take out of that tipping program pays off in spades. But finding the funds to be able to start such a topic and be the person that steps forward when the rest are waiting to see what happens at the state level, not a popular way to move.
One thing though, once we get that chipper going, we get a chipper, I mean, we could actually do something with the chips, because that's a very viable commodity.
Oh, yeah. Lewiston rents a grinder from Affordable Well Drilling and makes their own mulch.
Yeah.
The fact is, it's pennies on the dollar for just recycling the product, for all the stuff that you're running through the chipper.
Right.
Absolutely.
Stuff for future discussion.
You got it.
Thank you, and I appreciate all the moving different parts.
No
In the
problem.
spring, it's already busy enough.
Thank you.
Tracy?
Good evening, Tracy Stuber, Economic and Community Development Director. For the month of March, I think was a pretty exciting one. On March 1st, we had our public hearing as well as the final vote from council for the submission and acceptance of the Community Development Block Grant Facade Program in the amount of $150,000. The grant has been submitted, and we should receive notification if we are a recipient of the award in early May. So we just got a few more weeks to wait for that. And March 2nd, MTM was a buzz. Lisbon was actually a host for a statewide event through the Maine Downtown Institute, where we had probably about 60 people from all over that came to Lisbon. It was a workshop. They've had them in different locations. Lisbon is a Maine Downtown Network program, as well as we are an active community, which is ACE, Active Community Environmental. And that one, they had workshops as well. So the speaker was quite interested. Mitchell Razor is a principal with MRLD Landscape Architect Urbanism based in Yarmouth. And one of the things that he kind of focused on was looking at integrating economics, land use policy, mobility options, and built environment. And some of his projects were the Auburn Village Center Downtown Study, the Portland Bayside Transportation Master Plan, the Rockland Winter Street Shared Space Redesign, and Biddeford Square Shared Street Space Design. As I listened to Mr. Razor, I realized that this is the same thing that we're doing here in Lisbon. This is exactly what we're doing with our Route 196 Master Plan and working with the Route 196 Committee as well as the Planning Board. Design standards in our guidelines, our downtown TIF district, the downtown master plan, and the CDBG facade grant and our streetscapes improvement plans. This will be a slow process. We all know we just need to be patient. However, the foundation is here. Now we just need to build it as a community. So we will get there. Again, there was forecast was snow, but again, you know, it wasn't canceled, and we did have the turnout. Benoit's Bakery, which is our own local business here, catered the event. As far as for the morning, there was also a smaller group that met at lunchtime. The reviews were very well received as far as the food and how Nick handled everything. And afterwards, the group spent some time. I think they were going to visit the sausage kitchen and going to visit some of the other shops. So again, as we can hold more of these types of events and bring other people from the outside to our community and show them what we have, the better it is for Lisbon. One of the things I've been doing, I'm not sure if you noticed within my monthly report, is I try to highlight a business. We do have a lot of businesses, and people don't realize that, but there are over 300 businesses. A lot of them are home-based businesses, but there are a lot of businesses. East Craft Boutique and Bazaar is located at 14 Main Street, and it's owned by Maggie Oliver. If you haven't gone to visit her, you may want to. I think when Diane and I popped in on her, she was sitting at a sewing machine sewing, so you never know. The establishment was founded in 2014. Eastcraft Boutique and Bazaar is a fashion destination inspired by all of the cool girls of the world, which I consider being cool. They carry a mix of hand-picked boutique styles, carefully curated vintage apparel, and locally made goods. Again, you can go in there, shop, and you can find where there are people locally that have made products, and she's selling them in her shop. They believe in the magic of the craft. The store hours are Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 5, or you can reach Maggie by appointment. If you're looking for something unique, I would recommend checking out the Eastcraft Boutique and Bazaar in downtown Lisbon Falls. You may also find them on their website as well as Facebook. And I think just recently Maggie had posted something where you went in and you spent $25 and you got a Kimura that she was giving out as a gift. So you just never know. It's always good to, no, you may not want to send your wives down there, but to follow her because she's always running some specials down there. The Moxie Festival. Things continue to progress as we get closer to the festival date. We just recently made some updates to the Moxie Festival website, and things are running real smoothly. We've made it mobile responsive. We've taken all of the events, and there's like a circle, I guess, that you click on that, and it will give you all of the events for that particular day, so it's not meshing everything together. It'll be easy for people to follow and find, and again, if they can go on their tablet, they can go on their mobile phone, and everything will be right there, so it's all mobile responsive. I would recommend everybody going on and check it out and see how it looks. Parade information is also on the website. Our vendor information applications is on the website. You can register for the 5K, so we are getting things up and going, and they are put on the website to have people start registering. The committee will present the logo contest winner, which is Kaylin Pacheco, with the first official 2016 T-shirt, along with a check for $100 at the Spring Assembly. This took place last week?
April 13th.
Thank you. This took place last week. It was very exciting, so it was really good. And we are now getting our official Moxie Festival T-shirts. And if you can, you probably can't see it as good on yours because it's not color, but she did an outstanding job in working within the theme of being a Moxie. It's out of this world, and it's got an astronaut and stars and planets and a rocket ship. And this was all done by 17-year-old Lisbon High School students, so we're very proud. Our sponsors, we have our Moxie Taster sponsors, which is Crossman Funeral Home, the Moxie Sipper sponsors, C.N. Brown, Larry Stewart's Auto Sales, Core Physical Therapy, Quality Care Auto, Lisbon Credit Union, Maine Recycling. Then in next month's report, we hope to tell you about a couple of new events that are going to be part of the festival this year. So our goal, just to kind of give you a heads up, because of volunteers and the committee and everybody is so stretched out to the max in trying to do the activities, that the focus of the committee is really going to be Friday and Saturday. And what will take place on Sunday will be the car show through the rec program. And I believe the PTO is working on a breakfast where they'll do that as a fundraiser for that morning. So in doing so, the committee is adding more things in downtown on Saturday to really give everybody a good day of activities and events. So we'll make that announcement next month. Any questions?
No, I'm not going. Yeah, I will.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you were going to put a new event in, we might, on School Street, up by Doc's house, we might charge $5 for burnout contest.
Those are very popular.
They are. We'd get a lot of people.
I think we would.
She spends the other 364 days out of the year to slow them down in that neighborhood.
And
They're not going to be going very fast.
Just
Thank you.
real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't be able to see them if they were, yeah.
Next item. Well,
Dot just missed the whole thing, she said. Audience participation and response for new items.
anybody? Larry?
Thought Dot would respond on that last one.
She,
didn't hear it.
hear it.
I haven't spoken for a while, so I got a few.
Yeah, you can.
Larry's back.
Larry Fillmore from Lisbon.
Roger, I know you know. I'm not sure about Chris. But when Scott Benson was here, he got out and briefed us on the Gypsum Mill project. And he told us that they were going to remove all of that stuff. They were going to seed it. They were going to do this. They were going to do that. Didn't get done. It's not done. It's not very attractive, so I don't know how the hell you're going to sell it, okay, or do anything with. But we need to take a look at that. Okay, the same way with Luigi's up here. That's disgraceful. They did a job, they moved it out, Graziano's is gone, okay, but it's disgraceful now. And we need to do something about that. I don't know what to do, okay? And the last thing I have is this branding. This town is noted for the Moxie. So whatever branding we do, we need to tie Lisbon to Moxie. It will make it so much more to market and much easier to market if we tie the two together. Now, if you got something else you want to put with Lisbon, have at it. I'm just saying that everybody knows Moxie all over the country. We got people coming in. Why do we not take advantage of that? Now, I know there's trade, you know, these trade rules and regulations and all that. But Coke owns Moxie. Now, somebody's going to tell me why that Coke wouldn't want to promote that product? Does somebody see anything wrong with that logic? Okay, they want to sell it as much as we do. So they would be willing to bend over backwards, I would think, to help us. So we need to explore that a little more. I brought up the thing, Lisbon, home of Moxie. Oh, everybody went crazy. Oh, can't do that. That's trademark. All right, the whole 9 yards. But there are other variations. Lisbon, birthplace of Moxie. I'm sure that you people can come up with some more other than the two that I gave you. The concept of tying the two together is the most important aspect. Because if you get it right, you got a good marketing scheme there. And I'm sure that Coke will help you. So I think we need to pursue that a little further. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Mr. Fellows.
Thank you for asking. Don Fellows from the Lisbon side. I just have a question. Has it been established yet when the second reading and when the hearing will be for the property maintenance, or is that an automatic that you had planned?
Next meeting?
So usually it's the following meeting that we have the second.
You don't have to set it at the council meeting.
We have to set the public hearing.
That makes sense. We could do that, yeah.
We can set that tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, typically it's at the next meeting is the second reading,
Yeah.
public hearing.
Yeah. Be the public hearing and next reading will be tonight. Okay.
No one's opposed, we'll put that in the minutes by
Yeah.
consensus.
Yep. Anybody else? Next item.
Since there are no appointments, it would be council communications.
I've got one thing. Me and the town manager and her husband, my wife, Chief Brooks, and his wife, and Mr. Lemieux, I believe your wife was there too. We attended the Fireman's Ball in Brunswick last Saturday. It was very good. I was watching the film that they had presented, and as it goes down through, I don't know, if watching for the older guys, there's not a lot of people that I don't know. It's just, so that means that I'm getting old. So, but it was a good time. And, as always, I enjoyed myself. And some of the food was good and some of it wasn't, but what I ate was good. So, it was a good time, and more people are really, more firefighters or ex-firefighters, more people ought to attend it, because it just shows the appreciation for the fire department, what they do. And that's all I get to say. Anybody else?
I got one. Dare I throw myself and Miss Kolb under the bus? Next Friday night, the 29th, is Dancing with the Staff at the high school.
Come watch us make fools of ourselves.
Come cheer, quite literally, come cheer on Team Austin Ward.
No.
Because
No,
Cody
no.
Campbell's here to blame. If you don't like the show, all protests in writing, direct them to him. He'll take care of it. So,
No.
7 o'clock at the high school. It benefits the class of 2016 and high school drama club. So, should be an interesting show.
And on that note, it's Colby and Williams that you want to vote for, so couple 4?
Not happening.
Yeah, that trophy's got our name on it.
Keep moving.
Can we tape it?
I actually think it is. I think it goes on YouTube from what I've been told.
Hi.
I think we should have a special screening at the next,
No.
next council meeting after this.
2 beer minimum.
Oh, shut. Be a minimum.
Minimum, I
Oh,
said.
okay. Well, a dancing bear might show up. Is that it? Okay. Next item,
Yikes.
Twyla.
To adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
One second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Quarter past 6 here.
Thank you.
This time.
Have a good evening, everybody.
52 ain't bad.
I see you trying
Not
to
quite
promote
30,
your
but it
votes
ain't-
already there.
Sounds
Exactly.
horrible.
Oh, yeah, rocking it hard.
Krebs, I can still get it running.
I don't take any real pictures, but like I said, we have a digital camera that lays around the house.
I signed it, yeah.
I signed.
I don't really, because
signed.
it's usually just stuck in my pocket.
It ought to be a good one.
You know, a champion on his bicycle.
I heard this is
Seven.